Good morning, my dear ones. How are you today? Again, I appreciate these great comments. Drew's checking the site now for more questions because I'm going to do a real short thing here this morning, and then Kathy's going to do a video of the school, and then some question and answer type things, and then I think Drew's going to take you on a tour of our place. To show you we not have a mega operation here. But I wanted to get into some question and answers, but I want to obviously address some controversy here that I think is important. And, I love you guys. You guys come in and chime in and really get your consciousness out there, and I love that, This situation is about the B12 controversy, of course. And most of you really get the spirituality side of life. I think that's who's going to be viewing my videos more than anybody else, because if you can't take a higher level of thinking and consciousness, you're not going to be able to view our videos and take what we have to say. And that's okay, because these souls need to spin off and go get their experiences and then come back more humbled. So it is important that we look at that, because we're locked so much into the intellectual thinking. And in biochemistry and chemistry, and I've said this before, that universally we all disagree on this. When you think that you know how things work in the body, you're educated to something a little higher. A good example was back in the 1900s. This gentleman introduced biological transmutations. The fact that obviously chemistry is constantly in the process of flux and transmutations, moving from one to another. B12 is of that nature. It's a cofactor. And cofactors are when chemistry transmutates, combines, and creates other factors. And there's so much of that we come back with our chests up and we think we know how the body works, but we don't. And there's so much of that intellectual crap out there that, and we're in a treatment-based thinking society, that this is what you see. You've got to take your B12, you got to take this, you got to take that. And unfortunately, I've seen this B12 controversy for years, and it holds no water. Not at all. This idea that fruits and vegetables won't, in a term of a cofactor, give you B12 is ridiculous. We play that same game with proteins and with amino acids and the concept of complete amino acids. In the primate families, where we are the closest, and of course the herbivore family, which are the two basically non-eating families, you do have some primates that consume meat, but very, very rarely. So what you see in both of these vertebrates is no B12 deficiencies. So when you come out and you say, well, I see B12 in meat, then you need it. That's the kind of consciousness we have out there. And of course, one comment from one of you guys was about the bacteria. We get a lot of vitamins from bacteria. This is a fact. And there's so much cofactors being produced in the body, or biological transmutations of chemistry, it's not even worth you thinking about, because we just keep packing onto that, and there's always someone that disagrees with that at all levels. This is a major controversy, and I don't play those games anymore. It's not worth it. It builds ego, it builds arrogance, and this is what you see in Centron. You're very arrogant. You think you know the answers here, my friend, and you don't. You sound like a very constipated individual. The kind of words you throw out there and the insult that you gave to me, you don't know what I've done in my life and how I walk in my shoes. You don't know the sacrifices I've made so these videos can be shot. You have no clue. And so it's insultive, and I just let God take care of you the way it's going to, because you need to grow and get unconstipated. So as we say on our videos here, you probably should have 3 or 4 colonics, go meet the Dalai Lama, go sit under a big banyan tree and meditate for a few years, and break the mind hold on yourself. And then you'll have compassion for other people. Yes, there are a lot of capitalists out there, there sure are. But I think most people that really know us and realize who we are realize that's far, far from the truth. The amount of help that we give for free, the amount of work we've done, the fight I've done with the state so you could have this. I could have quit years ago and said, hey, you go find your own stuff. So, you're insultive in that way. So, you go on out, and this YouTube site is for people that love each other and people that are breaking the hold of the mind. And if you don't like it, you stay off my channel, because I don't need you to insult my friends here and come back with rudeness like idiots and stuff like that. We don't need that kind of stuff here. We're growing. This world needs a much higher level of expression and understanding here. So I do appreciate you viewing it, but since I'm a capitalist, I'm going to make all these videos free to everybody but you, Sinfron. And every time you view one of my videos, I want you to send me $100. Okay? Now, I'm a capitalist, so I want you to send me $100 every time you view one of my videos. Everybody else, you got it for free, okay? So let's end that, because you just go do your thing and stay away from our friends. We're growing here on this channel, and that's how it's going to be. Now, one lady asked me a question here about thick white tongues. And a lot of people, this thing like B12, we have another thing that's candida, candida, candida. And it is true that, suddenly candida is like B12. If you have a B12 deficiency, you have everything wrong with you in the book. Autoimmune, which is bull crap. You've got fatigue. You've got all these symptoms from B12 deficiency. Well, let's see. The average person is B12 deficiency. The average person is high fungus. I don't see how the average person even makes it in life. Do you? Epstein-Barr, a lot of people have Epstein-Barr virus. That's easy to get out. These things are easy to get out. And most of us do have a fungal load of some sort. If you crave cheeses or breads or pastas, you've got a pretty good fungal load. And if you have a lot of sulfur in the body, you're going to have a lot more of a fungal load. So, you use the herbs really to get this fungal load down, and then you fix those adrenals and stay away from this complex sugar. The white coating on the tongue, I've been in love with the natural hygienic movement for years. I mean, you look at some of these old people, they're in their 90s, they got all their teeth, and they've been eating fruits and vegetables raw for 30, 40, 50 years. And I've ran into a lot of them through the years, just healthy as a jaybird. And so the natural hygienic movement was a lot about fasting, but water fasting. And there was a clinic down here in Bonita Springs called the Shangri-La. It's the only place in the early 70s I could find any raw books. They had great charts. And unfortunately, it's kind of teetered off. Harvey Diamond kind of, I won't say plagiarized, because they came with him on this, I suppose, and created the Fit for Life, which then, this was an upswing to the natural hygienic movement, and they kind of adapted that. They came out with a PhD course I thought was killer in chemistry, biochemistry. I mean, it's a great course. I still have it here. I never did finish it, but what a great course, man. Especially in the understanding of your proteins and all the chemistry of the foods, and I really liked it. And each segment was written by a great raw foodist from the past, like Fry and Shelton, and just a great course. But it is weighing down for some reason. You can't get those nice brochures. This is a chart they used to come out with, if you can see it. And this chart shows you the different categories. This is from Canada and their group. But you don't see much like that anymore. But fasting, as soon as you fast, your body starts cleaning itself. That's the nature. And your tongue will turn different colors. White is basic, acute, maybe even subacute. But the subacute stages of toxicity are a little deeper. And so they create a yellowing on the tongue. And then you have your chronic stages where you get actually a brown coating on the tongue. A lot of inflammation. You're going to get a red split tongue. But you made the comment, sweetheart, that your tongue, that goes away when you eat cooked foods, and that's because cooked food stops your body from cleaning itself. That's sometimes what you use in a detoxification when it's too aggressive on somebody. You slow that healing crisis down with cooked food. And so this is why you see that when you eat fruit, it just comes right out, because fruit is really pulling on that. The tongue is just an extension of your GI tract. So what you see on the tongue is what's going on in your gut. And that's very important to look at that. A lot of people use these tongue scrapers and things, and that shows how much lymph toxicity that they have, particularly in the wall of the gut. And it'll show you malabsorption and everything else. This isn't fungus, this is lymph toxicity. And so, yeah, you can have fungus in it. You can have bacteria in it, hopefully, because this is the process of breaking down and getting rid of here. So very natural to have a white coating, even deeper. The deeper you dig in your body, and that's where you see the fruits and even water fasting really pulling this out on your tongue. Now, I don't think I have too many questions this morning. Drew is looking on that, but let's see, I have someone calling from Greece here, and she had a lot of questions. She's had some stage 3 breast cancer. She got a 2.6 centimeter tumor was removed and 20 lymph nodes. So, and she's having chemo. So that's a scary one. She's from Athens, so we'll be talking to her a little later. Sometime I'll get some, maybe we'll do one live to show you how this works, because my goal is to make every one of you a healer. And keeping it simple, you won't get caught up in these controversies of B12 and amino acids and calories. Because someone asked me about calories, and she's worried that she's not getting enough calories. You know, and I haven't thought about calories in 40 years. And now I saw on the news here a few months ago that now the less calories, the better. This isn't about calories. It is certainly about nutrition and certainly about magnetic energy, really. Calories, I mean, if you're going to eat more calories, eat more raw foods. I know if you look at the herbivores, they eat a lot. Busch Gardens up here in Tampa, they have a big primate exhibit, and I think it was saying that primates eat 40% of the day or 30% of the day, play 40 and rest 40. So they only eat 30% of the day, and most of them are pretty good size. Some of the females are smaller than the big males, but you don't mess with a female, a chimpanzee or a female, any of the primates. These guys will rip your head off. And that's because they're strong. Why are they strong? They eat raw foods. Anything that eat raw foods is strong, except for the lions. And they have some quick strength, but the endurance is low because of the heavy protein. Here's one about keratoconus. This is what Drew has. And so a condition, he had to have his cornea transplanted. You know, and no matter what situation you're in, I don't care what it is, your only hope to regenerate and rebuild and sustain is to remove the type of medium that's breaking it down. Now, on top of this understanding of the lymph and acidosis is genetics. And, genetics determines how a cell thinks and feels in the moment. And so that's why you want to get cells regenerated before you conceive and have a young one, because when that happens, you're not going to pass what you received. You're going to pass the consciousness of the cell in that moment. That's why you see a decay in genetics from generation to generation, because everybody eats like mama eats. Or this ridiculously perpetuated American dietetics diet. Crazy. Someone commented that milk is full of B12 only if you add it. When you cook, you lose any co or water soluble factors. This is all there is to it. So we don't understand the difference between raw and cooked, and majorly difference in chemistry. This is why in milk, it's why you see these little slick orange juice commercials where they say 1 glass of orange juice gives you more calcium than 4 or 5 glasses of milk. Because when you pasteurize at these levels, you're taking that chemistry toward plastic. Your bonding chemistry, the water solubles are destroyed, and the oils are bonding, and now you have a whole different character. I don't know if some of you guys remember C. Everett Koop. C. Everett Koop was the United States Surgeon General a while back, and he came out with a statement that made the headlines across the United States. U.S. Surgeon General warns milk may be bad for you. Well, 2 months later, he's not the United States Surgeon General anymore. That's how honest he just can't seem to get with people. I'm amazed. This guy was being truthful to help out the suffering of man and the lymph problems. And what happens? Boom, you're out. Dairymen's Association. Well, maybe we should sue the Dairymen's Association for their role in covering up the tremendous side effects of milk and the health concerns that you have drinking it. Maybe we should turn the tables on these people. I've lived passive for a lot of years. You do in meditation, and you just kind of let go and let God, so to speak. But in the last few years, I've had to fight some big, heavy fights, and I'm kind of in the fight mood a little bit, because it's like I'm fine in my God thing, but I look out there and it's like, man, suffering so much over what? Arrogance, like this Citron guy and these kind of people, and the people that like to control, and the narcissistic people. I mean, it'd be nice to see that consciousness raise up. If not, then we know this planet, of course, is where karma's worked off, and those that are doing ups and downs, they have to pay for that, and what better place here? So, Drew, you got anything for me? Yeah, I'm waiting on some questions and answers here. Let's see if I have anything I haven't got to. Yeah, this is from Leanna Crystalline Ascension. A lot of people, and this is kind of a good question. If you're on a lot of medications, do you take the herbs? I've never in my life seen when people are doing raw foods and the herbs, it ever interfere with medications. It's a good way to titrate in the sense that, yes, your body's going to detoxify these medications out of you. At the same time, though, you're going to have that enhancement of tissue behind it. I would not be afraid at all to work with these medications you're on, sweetheart, and at the same time detoxify. I wouldn't at all. The only two that concerns me is high blood pressure medication, which is really, that's a short-term thing if you're on these kind of programs. And the other thing, of course, is always going to be blood sugar medications. Important to keep the blood sugar, below 120, 130. We like it to balance out 85 to 90, and it will. But sometimes when you're brittle and you've got breaking down fat and you've got glucose loading and all this other stuff, you're going to have some need to play with that. But you can play with it PRN, and that's when needed, as opposed to keeping yourself on a dose that could slam you in the ground. I remember once I had a guy in Portugal, and maybe I told this on another video, but he was MS-like symptoms, and the medical doctors had sent him over. And he was very advanced. He could hardly walk and move, shuffled his feet. And I asked him what he did, and he said he was a butcher. And so I thought I knew his problems because they had done MRIs and everything else. And interesting, though, they'd done all these tests, they didn't find really what was the core here. And I find this interesting because this will help that guy that was talking to that medical student here in Germany. I find this interesting because this will help that guy that was talking to that medical student here in Germany. Oh, and I got another thing from Germany. This guy moved to Germany, and now he's regretting it because Germany's locked down herbs. The German government did the German people says the greatest dissatisfaction You know, these all these governments need to be kicked out, and people get their countries back where we're all working together and there's love. This World Health Organization, this group is needs to spend some time in the Buskow. I mean, you know this. I mean, this is how warped intellectualism has gotten narcissistic beyond belief. The control of the world's seeds, the control of the world's food sources. To what end would that be? You know, power over others? I mean, it's all kind of out of Wappichod. But I started detoxifying this guy, and when I got back to the States, he had just started the kit there in Lisbon, and so when I got back to the States, she called maybe about 2 days maybe later, and she said he was throwing up, and I asked her what he was throwing up, and she said handfuls of worms. So you know that was the autonomic, but it gave him MS. But within 2.5 months, I had him driving around Lisbon, and his neurological symptoms were all gone. My sister had a gigantic herb shop, and he had this guy, a little young guy, I think he was only about 10 years old, with Bell's palsy. 1 week on the detox kit, no more Bell's palsy. So a lot of neurological problems can be parasitic. That's why I always deworm everybody. I don't care what. I think it's an essential issue in this country that we learn that we must deworm our children like a lot of these other countries do. I think it's important that happens there because the symptoms can be really devastating with that. So really, to that end, I would pick that up. You asked me about calcium. I would also do a supplement of kelp. Kelp, you've got high calcium and high iodine. And chemistry is all ratioed and stuck together magnetically. So this playing isolated chemistry and taking cofactor, look at CoQ10. CoQ10 is way down on the Krebs cycle. Yeah, an antioxidant. Someone asked me, she did in this from this Greece this morning. She wanted me to answer a question about does antioxidants protecting cancerous cells? You know, everybody's into these antioxidants and things like this. I want you to step back a minute and think about this. What we simply have is a body that is made of 100 trillion cells. We have a body that has 2 major fluids that handles the health of those cells. We also only have 2 sides to chemistry. We have the corrosive side of chemistry, which is the obvious acid side of chemistry, and then we have base or alkaline side of chemistry. Once you understand how the lymph system really works, remember that? Cells to the lymph vessels to the lymph nodes, full of bacteria, immune cells, and then off to the kidneys. Once you learn all that and you realize the nature of acids, and that cellular wastes are acids, and that 3/4 of these fluids that flow around each cell in your body is lymph, you'll see the importance of why that is when you understand the nature of acids. So you can take in nutrition to health reasons over as far as that's concerned, but that doesn't necessarily move lymph. You can pump green drinks. We get this all the time. People pumping wheatgrass juice, all the greens and things like this, and they come in with their tumors. One lady was in the other day from the Hippocrates. All her blood work looked good, everything looked good, but she said, my tumor's still here. Well, because it's a different system. This is the lymph system, not the blood. It's easy to clean up the blood. That's a no-brainer, actually. It is the lymph system that's the problem. And it's these acids that's the problem. And so this is why nutrition isn't really the key to detoxification. It is, but it isn't. It is that the dual nature of that. You have to have nutrition, but what foods has the most nutrition? If you take a look at this, look at the amount of greens that herbivores eat over the amount of fruits that primates eat. Primates eat less fruit and stay as strong, as herbivores that eat a lot more greens. And that's because fruits and berries, grown properly, picked right, have the most nutrition of any food on the planet. So really, nutrition is part of that. But remember, astringents and this high magnetic energy that you're giving the body to help move itself. You don't want to be your energy stuck in the digestive tract if you're trying to cure yourself of cancer. And remember, cancer is not a disease, it's a damaged cell from a lack of B12. Now, I had to throw that in, so forgive me. It is damage from acids. And so this is the sort of thing, and it's that simple. And if you always remember that, then that's your direction and focus, is to move that lymph system, and then you'll be in good shape. I want to give Kathy an opportunity to come in here and talk, so I'm going to break right now and give her a chance to come in here for my 10 o'clock. So thank you very much. I apologize to you all that sometimes we get people on this site, obviously, that need colonics and need meditation and need to clean themselves out. There's no need to be insultive on this channel. We're all a bunch of love people here. Most of you guys that I've seen here are such great souls, and I appreciate your strength, and I'm glad you came after this guy in that way. But at the same time, you know, we have a lot of people hurting in a lot of ways. This guy's probably not happy. He's frustrated. He doesn't have the answers. He only thinks he has the answers. And you're going to see a lot of that. But keep it simple always. Know that you have the answers, and it doesn't matter what other people think. You're going to have a lot of that coming in and out of there. I'm just not going to put up with it on my channel. But outside of that, because I don't put up with it anymore from anybody. Because I've had too many years here, and I've worked too hard, and I've sacrificed a lot of my life to be able to get this to you at this time. This is why it's a free channel, and why we're giving you this free. If I was a capitalist, everything would be charged here. That we'd be doing separate videos and all that, because I'm giving you the keys to the kingdom, baby. And but that's what I'm here for, you know. And so I love you all. You all are so good. Keep with the questions. I'll do my best to keep up with them. But thank you so much, and have fun on your journey. The journey can be up and down, but you know what? It's all fun. And it's just a body anyway. It's not who you are. It's what you're using while you're on this journey. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to let Kathy come in here. She just wants to tell you about the school, because we're proud of the students we put out there and what they're able to accomplish. So it's just it's great. Talk to some of our students, and this last class we had just blew us away. You know, the Coppola family records our stuff, and she just couldn't get to it this time. But great stuff, and it's all about learning and growing together. So thank you, and have a fun day and a fun weekend. Bye now. I'm kind of adding on to this here because Kathy's got tied up, and so I'm going to address this. I don't know if you want me to show your pictures, Julie, but you emailed this to Jennifer, the rosacea and stuff. Yeah, I mean, your lymph system's really backed up, and this is all up in the head area. You want to move your lymph system. As you get older, you'll get basal cells and stuff like this. This is all lymphatics. You got to move your lymph system. It's hard for me to tell, but you look like you have hazel eyes. If they are hazel, you've got some chronic lymph going on, because hazel eyes are actually blue eyes. And so it's hard for me to tell. They might be all brown, but it's really hard to tell. I can tell by your body structure that your adrenals are down and you're dealing with sugar metabolism problems. So you've got to fix your adrenals anyway, I'm here to tell you, and your kidneys, and then start draining this lymph system. Also fix up your bowels, clean up your bowels, and you'll have this. Jennifer will probably contact you back on this, but this is all your lymph system, and that's what acids do, honey. You're all over. You see it on your chest. It's all over. So you got some lymph work to do, but you got to get your adrenals up anyway, because you're the type where you're going to be fighting weight, and you're going to be fighting sugar metabolism problems, high or hyperglycemia. So I'm going to give this back to Jennifer here. Another question was on sensitive to cold and hot weather. general sense being an 80% raw food. Yeah, really, we're like I said, we're actually tropical species. I think subtropical at best, but it does take the fat off of you. And of course, in cold climates, I don't do well in cold climates on raw. I don't. And I've got clients in northern Alaska, Mongolia, all around the world in cold climates, Canada. And so in the dead of winter, when we have tumors and stuff, we've got to be fruit. So it's somewhat difficult, So warm teas, warm soups perhaps at times, but I've got to dig in and move lips. So you see, depending where we're working, what kind of, environmental effects we have to deal with. I'd also get on that thyroid. The thyroid's responsible for the heart rate and metabolism. Rate of metabolism keeps the body warmer. So if you got a good thyroid, when it is colder, even on raw, your body will move your blood around a little more, keep you a little warmer. So I'd be looking at my thyroid, check my basals under the arm, my basal temperatures, and make sure I'm at least 97.5, 6. Prefer a little higher, but at least up to there. And if not, either give you a thyroid herbal formula, or if you feel like you're real low, if you're in the 96s, that's chronic, you definitely want a glandular to help pop that up. And of course, the girls can help you there. The glandulars are physicians only, but let me see. Yeah, thank you all for your comments. I appreciate them. I really do. And I think that I love to empower you, and you're empowering me. And I love that. I love that. That's how we work. And I'll really tear down the spiritual road here soon. That's my favorite road. But I'm so involved in this health side of it. But it always leads to the spiritual side because they're interacted. Freckles. Yeah, look, I've got a bunch of those freckles too. Yeah, I know. I always wondered, myself. Skin pigmentation issues deal from the pituitary gland. And so... maybe we're a bit of some pituitary race, I mean, we're looking at the different parts of the country and the world, your body, skin type, and everything else. We've basically we've mutated from generations. Homo sapiens have been around a little while on the planet, and so yeah, we have changed our skin color. Well, we migrated up north. The darker, the more south and the tropical, the darker your skin's going to get. But it protects you from the sun, and that's all good stuff. But us whiteys, we got shipped up north where we have to fight our health more, and it's like, So keep working on it. Keep working on your health. That's a good thing. Thanks for all your comments. I love you guys too. Chronic cold feet and being sensitive to the cold weather. Yeah, full heart. That's that's definitely thyroid. And like I said, thyroid is controlled by the pituitary. This is TSH controlling the thyroid. So I'd have to look at your case more to see if you have a pituitary weakness that's controlling or suppressing the thyroid, or whether it's just the thyroid itself. Anyway, if you're that cold, then that's a chronic case, and that's where I know how this one lady feels, and I understand, but that's where glandulars come in. If they're going to raise animals to eat for the lower consciousness, okay, but let's spare everything we can. In other words, let's use those organic glands for the purpose of helping others. If we're going to be involved in that whole thing, okay, but again, a life away from animal products is a very, very great life. You feel so much lighter. You don't feel dirty. You don't feel bloaty. You don't feel that. Life off of proteins in general is a very uplifting, more mobile body. And play with this yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. They had a thing on protein last night on Fox News, and this big guy and this girl couldn't pinch an inch and all this, and high protein. It's like, well, I'll see you someday with arthritis and bad kidneys. They believe that you should have about 100 grams of protein a day. It's like, oh, well, the daily recommendation now is 20 to 40, which is not very much, and that's if you even had an idea that your body could use protein. Let me see. Appreciate these, I really, really do. Good, good, good. I've been taking some quiet all time good for kidneys. I know I'm a, you're an RN. Oh, you're an ICU RN. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I know. I got my stories. I spent a lot of years in cardiopulmonary, nuclear medicine, emergency rooms. I just, my significant other was a cardiac nurse, and I just thought that would be cool, and I wanted to get my advanced life support system, my ACLS, and I just wanted to know all that, it just, how you get these bugs after a while. You have years and years in one thing, you want to play in another. And I told you before, the radiation in nuclear medicine, I saw my vision declining as a few years went on, so I just said, you know what? And actually a medical doctor talked me back into getting my practice back online again because, the fight and the frustration and you don't know whether they want to throw you in jail. I've been threatened to be thrown in jail for years. I mean, it's been a long haul. People have no idea at the cruelty these states have done to naturopaths. Some of them went to jail. Some of them literally back in the 70s, people even disappeared. There was a great medical doctor in New York City that had found some herbal things that he found that could cure cancer, as the newspaper said, and his office was raided, and then, come on in, Kathy, and they never found him. So this is the kind of thing here. So I'm going to cut off here. I've got a client here, and then you're going to come in, or Drew's going to get the camera and then set you up, right?
Yes.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, my friends. Kathy will be seeing you on the downside. Bye-bye now. It's a madhouse around here. We're shooting these videos and trying to kind of get some things in order here. Kathy's going to be in here in a minute and go over the school as I promised you. I had a few more questions here, and I definitely wanted to take care of Rick Campbell. Rick Campbell, please take a deep breath a minute here, man. I told you in the last response, have your wife call the clinic. This idea that you think I have ever said or left anybody thinking that they're hopeless is you need to ear candle your ears. Because in 40 years, I'm the one guy that keeps working when you have half of your body in the grave and half out. I'm known for that. I have family members that want to just write their family off because they're almost dead, and I keep going. I've never, ever told anybody that they were hopeless. So I think you guys got some emotional issues you got to work through here, because I never said that to you. I told you to call the clinic and have them help her. We're here to help. That's what this is about. So don't send any more of these, because this is straightforward to you, just like that. I apologize for the rest of you, but you keep writing stuff like this, and I call the clinic here, guy. If she's in trouble, that's what we're here for. And I've never made her feel hopeless. Maybe you misunderstood. Nobody's hopeless. There's some pretty advanced cases. I don't know what your wife's, forget what her problem is. We see a lot of people here. So hang on there, Rick. Relax, chill out, man. We'll help her. That's what we're here for. We'll help her. But never is anybody hopeless. Have anybody ever heard that word on these videos? I got a cool one here. This is an advanced MS case I've been working on, and we get a lot of those. And this poor thing couldn't move at all, and barely on a walker. And I can't remember which country she's in, but her bones have rehealed from fractures. She pushed the walker away and been walking toward it repeatedly. She's never been able to do that in years. I mean, it's pretty cool to hear some of these things. She got real low blood pressure, and what's real low blood pressure? After 1 hour of intense leg workout, he took the blood pressure. She's got 101, over 73 on the left side, can hardly hear the pulse. That's a very weak adrenal gland. Of course, that controls the autonomic nervous system. So even though she's coming back, she's still got very weak autonomic nervous system. The right side's 105, nice and strong. So it's that left side of her that's weak there. This next day, she walked the most in the house, did 5 laps around the house, pushing the walker away from her and walking to it. Felt the best walking in a while. Next day, getting a lot of mucus out of her. She tripled them. Next day, she tripled the amount of squats, and it's just on and on and on. She's getting a lot of mucus out of her, so that's good. She's detoxifying here. So she's going up and down, but she's coming, isn't she? And that's advanced MS. And this is what you see here. Once in a blue moon, we fight hard. I think I told you I have an osteopathic friend that's just fighting so hard with Lou Gehrig's it makes me sick. Once in a while, it's hard for me to get you. I never said it's impossible. I never left anybody hanging out there. So please don't insult me like that. Here's one about this gentleman, Cindy. Yeah, thanks, sweetheart. Yeah, gout for 10 years and had to have a kidney removed. Now, see how that ties into the kidneys? Those kidneys, man hasn't paid enough attention to these kidneys and how important they are. And if anything I leave you guys is look at these kidneys and the job that they're supposed to do. We don't realize that allopathically. And remember, a lot of research is old. You guys are the new guys that are going to really do well. So you can see that. And of course, he had high blood pressure and weight problems from the adrenals and the kidneys there. You guys are getting this right on. I love you guys. Acid crystals in the joints, yeah. I mean, so pain. And then they removed one of his kidneys. Oh, that's tough. So I had a lady in the other day that lives in her van in McDonald's parking lots and Walmart parking lots. And she had a right breast tumor, and so they removed her right breast, took all her money away. She had no money. She's a middle-class lady. She had to move in a van. And so I'm explaining the fact that the breast is just a bunch of cells and 2 fluids, and that the kidney was the problem all along, and she got this blank look on her face, and she rolled back, and she lifted up her dress, and her left leg was this big. She said, oh my God, they removed my right kidney. And her right leg was huge, elephant leg. And so she looked at me and she said, you know, I think I'm going to die. Well, that is one case. I said, I don't know. Because they removed the kidney that you can fix. So that was problematic. A lot of people give him a kidney, doesn't get that lymphedema, so somehow this surgeon didn't understand the lymph system or something. It didn't tie her back right to that other kidney because, man, serious problems. I've never seen her again, so she probably did pass in some McDonald's parking lots. I mean, it's just sad stuff. Can't go chomping out organs and glands. You fix them, repair them. That's simple. This other lovely lady asked me about her pH. She's been doing a lot of greens, and her pH is 8 and dark. Oh, come on in, Kath, because I'm just winding up here, and I want you to go ahead and do this. I think I'm done with what I have to say. Now, Julie in Belgium. Yeah, I think we can get our herbs in Belgium. We get them in most countries except Germany. Those people that signed on Codex, and limited their people's ability to get herbs. So I think this is the picture you sent me. I don't have the picture of this one, but talked about rosacea this morning and all through you and hair loss. Again, lymph system, acids take off the hair. When it comes out the skin, those are acids. So that's your lymph system. So you got to do the kidneys. If that was you I talked about this morning, I apologize. This is just something they handed me. But if it's not, you've got to move your lymph, and you've got to get your kidneys filtering it and the adrenals that control the kidneys back up. And very important to do this because this is up in your brain area, and then you could have future brain lesions, all kinds of things, glaucomas, macular degeneration, cataracts, deterioration of the teeth, balding, all that's acidosis from the inability to move lymph. Alrighty, I apologize about the Rick Campbell thing, but Rick, please, we told your wife to call in here. We'd be happy to help her. Happy to help any of you guys that are in serious trouble. No, nothing's hopeless. Never have I said that, and never will I. Remember, I'm the last kid on the block, and I'll work until you're 3/4 in the grave, and then I'll say it's probably better to go have some fun. All righty, here's Kathy, and she's going to talk to you about our school. Thank you very, very much. Thank you again, and bear with me, even if I get a little raunchy here sometimes. Sometimes, people need it. All right, Kathy, come in and...
Hello everyone, my name is Kathy. I'm Dr. Morse's personal assistant. I'm also the assistant director of the International School for Detoxification. I would like to talk to you briefly about your options if you wanted to learn how to do what Dr. Morse does. You have two options basically. One is to come in person. We have a class once a year in Sarasota, Florida. It's a beautiful city with lots of fun things to do and see, and one of the best beaches in the country. I think it's #1 this year. And the class is a 5-day intensive with Dr. Morse teaching all 5 days, and it encompasses 3 days of total detox and 1 day of physical iridology, and the last day is roundtables and a little segment on staying within the law, doing what we do. And a little segment on staying within the law, doing what we do, how to teach versus treat symptoms, how to teach people how to renew their vibrant health, how to take responsibility for your own health issues. And it also gives you a packet of information on internal forms for starting your own practice. So that 5-day intensive is $695. And if you have it paid in full 1 month prior to the class, you get an early bird discount, and it would be $650. Now there are a couple of discounts. One is if husbands and wives come together. The first one would come at $650, and the second one would come at $450. Also, if you're coming as a group, that would be something like a chiropractor's office or a massage therapist's office. If there's multiple people coming to the class from one organization, there's a special discount for that. So call us or email us, and we'd be happy to send you the written information to show you what the rest of the discounts are, what the dates are, what the class, abbreviated class outline looks like. And there's a page that's a seminar application, and that's what you would fill out and mail back with your $200 deposit, and that's what secures your seat in the class for next April. The next class is April 23rd through the 27th, 2012. And if you cannot get to the class, if you physically cannot come, there is one other option, and that would be the home DVD series. And what that does is gives you an 8-disc set of a previous class that we filmed of Dr. Morse. It doesn't give you the physical iridology and the roundtables and the summation at the end, but it will give you a wealth of information. You can get it for $350 if you do not wish to become certified, and you can get it for $450 with a take-home exam and Dr. Morse's Detox Miracle Sourcebook, which is the workbook for both courses. Those would be $450 with the certification. And what you do is you watch them at your leisure, and then send the exam back to Dr. Morse. He does all the corrections himself, and if he feels that you've grasped all the salient points, then you become certified. We send you a certification, we send you a new price list based on what we call a local distributor category, and your exam back with all the notes from Dr. Morse on it, and some packets of information. So you have a choice of coming in person once a year. It's always the last week in April at Everglades University in Sarasota, Florida. or you can do the home study course. Either way, it's a wealth of information. If you come in person, it's absolutely the energy that Dr. Morse exudes over those 5 days is incredible. And probably by the time you're leaving, everybody's walking on air. It's just beautiful energy, and it's a wonderfully conducive spot for learning. So, if you have any further questions, feel free to call me or any of the staff here. We'd be happy to answer any questions. We'd be happy to send you the paperwork or email it to you. It's a mind-boggling experience. It's a life-changing experience. It's empowering to know that no matter what health issues you're dealing with, that there is a way to turn them around. I can tell you firsthand that I was a client before I started working for Dr. Morse. And for all of you out there that deal with chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, Lyme's disease, allergies so bad they told me I'd have to live in a glass bubble the rest of my life after suffering for 25 years. I haven't had one allergy in the last 13 years. So Dr. Morse literally gave me my life back, and he can do that for anyone. It's just a matter of teaching you the keys. So, thank you for your time. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to call. If you want to sign up for the class, as I say, just fill out this one-page application form, send it in with your deposit, or call me with your credit card information, and we'll be happy to sign you up. It's a life-changing experience, and I hope you can all come. Thank you.
How'd you like Kathy? You know, she said she didn't think she smiled enough. It's like, you know, we're all just a bunch of people trying to help each other. I thought I would kind of close this particular segment with this gentleman here. I guess you're from Switzerland, my friend. And your question was mucoid plaque, and that's a good question. I have Dr. Jensen's endoscopy and colonoscopy here, and you really can see the black plaque on the wall of the man that wrote the colon book. And I'm not meaning to be mean with Dr. Jensen, but I think that's the benefit of herbs and things like this and the raw foods and cleaning the body, because we've had people use just raw foods and get this black plaque out, not just the psyllium. And you see it on a lot of colonoscopies. You'll see black on the wall. Medical doctors use staining by consumption of herbs. I had a lady bring in her colonoscopy, and she had this black plaque on the wall, and her medical doctor said, well, you stained your bowels taking herbs. She said, I've never taken herbs. So you see that, you know, in this plaque. And then there's stories of John Wayne, you know, with 15. Some people say 40, you know, that kind of got out of hand. There is impactions that exist in bowel pockets. Sometimes the bowel pocket will close over and you'll have impactions. White flour is a well-known glue, and generally eating a white bread sandwich with meat could be somewhat impactive in bowel pockets. I have just thousands of pictures of that issue, and Dr. Jensen, of course, famous for writing the bowel book, has just picture after picture, and that's what I loved about his work. Is he put color, but he was a great soul, man, very spiritual. And he loved flowers and beauty and color, which most spiritual people do. And so he loved to put photographs in his books. I think that was a big plus for him. N.W. Walker liked drawings, but Jensen really liked photographs. I really love that about his work. This is a true sign of a master in that science, you know. So he was so great at that. But there's no question that you get a plaque on the wall. It comes off. It's no big deal. Our fruits will do it. Our stomach and bowel formulas are designed to do that. No psyllium in them. That's just herbs that pull and clean, like marshmallow, slippery elm. I've got plantain, a little bit of a drawer there. So that cleans the bowel wall off. Most of the problem is in the bowel wall. See, that's where most of the problem is in the gut wall. So as you detoxify, you're going to see mucus, strings of mucus coming out of that bowel wall. And that's really what you want. You really want to reach through that wall, clean the wall off, okay, reach through it and get interstitially where the interstitial lymphatic constipation is. But I wanted to address that to you because you asked me to do you a protocol, and I'm going to do you up a protocol. But I thought it was a good enough question that everybody should know that. You have your believers and your disbelievers, yada, yada, yada. Try it on yourself. Clean yourself out. Don't have to do the bentonite or the charcoal or that. We just use that to get more aggressive, particularly when I see sulfur. When I see an orange ring around your eye, I just talked to Greece earlier this morning. This lady's got an orange ring around her eye, sulfur. And I do use that because sulfur is a little bit of a glue. So I do use those to kind of draw and pull. Supposedly bentonite absorbs 200 times its weight in toxins, and of course charcoal 2,000 times its weight. We use charcoal in the ER a lot for drugs and toxins, to absorb these toxins. But in reality, there's herbs that draw and pull. Just your fruit are astringent. That'll help clean the bowel wall off too. I've seen a lot of black stuff come out of people's bowels just from diet alone. And you see that on colonoscopies. If I can locate his colonoscopy, maybe I'll show you that on the air. But he was kind of proud of that. And it was before and after the raw foods and herbs that I put him on. And you could see the difference. He had them dated. He was a fanatic like that, befores and afters. And so you see what we did, what our herbs and diet did in the guy that wrote the colon health book. You'll see his colon, and you can see it before, and the black plaque that developed on the wall. So I don't care what medical doctors think. Not at all. Because these guys are the least knowledgeable, in my opinion, unless you came up, guys, and you've got yourself into naturopathy, you've taken on our field, you don't understand this field. And even though you're the ones doing the colonoscopies, I got a lot of your pictures here, so I get to see. Not everyone has it. It's like not everyone has worms and flukes and stuff. But some do. Not important. You're after the lymph system there and getting that interstitial lymphatic constipation corrected. That's what we're at. And you can't see that with a camera up the butt and down the mouth. You can't see in the wall, which is where most of the inflammation or acids are. So, my friend in Switzerland, I'll get your stuff out here and write this up today for you. And I thank you for viewing it. I hope Kathy talked about our school there for you. And we do have fun. We do have it, like she said, on DVDs. But you know what? Just knowledge yourself up. I mean, there's so much going on here that's cruel to humans. So knowledge yourself up. And a lot of you are doing this and getting great results, and I love that. Some of you might have some hard ways to go, and there is no non-curing. I'm into regeneration. I don't have this consciousness that, oh, you're beyond help. You don't know anyone around me that ever heard me say that. If people just look at me when I got cases and they go, my God, you're going to take that case on? We even take other practitioners' cases on. I help medical doctors. I help other naturopaths, osteopaths in particular, with their cases, chiropractors. I help them with their cases because if I can get you practitioners curing at these levels, we're going to infiltrate the world and we're going to change this thing, and the World Health Organization can pack its baggage and run. Thank you. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.